He left her with nothing. No money, no apology, no explanation. For years, she rebuilt her life in silence, learning how to survive without answers, without closure, without him. Then one evening, her phone rang. The voice on the other end was shaking. "He needs you," it said. The man who once walked away was now desperate, broken, alone. And in that moment, she faced a choice that would define who she truly was. Because what she did next, no one saw coming. For a long time, she believed silence was strength, that if she endured quietly, things would eventually make sense. She stayed when love became conditional. She adjusted when respect slowly disappeared. And when he finally left, she didn't beg. Because by then, she was already tired of proving her worth. Everyone assumed she would break. That a woman abandoned without warning would fall apart. She didn't. She learned how to survive on her own, how to wake up without expectations, how to live without answers. What no one saw were the nights she cried alone, or the mornings she forced herself to stand again. She never told her story. She never asked for sympathy. Years passed, life moved on, till the day it quietly circled back and placed the same man who once destroyed her peace back into her path. It's not as a savior, but as someone who now needed saving. This isn't a story about revenge. It's about the moment life asks you a question you never thought you'd have to answer. She was the kind of woman people never noticed until she was gone. Not because she lacked presence, but because she gave so much of herself that nothing was left to see. When they married, she had dreams of her own. Small ones, reasonable ones, a career she enjoyed, a sense of independence. A life where love didn't require erasing herself. But slowly, those dreams became inconveniences. His job came first. His stress came first. His future came first. And every time he needed something to give, she was the one who gave it. She adjusted her schedule to match his. She let go of opportunities because this isn't the right time. She stayed quiet during arguments because peace felt safer than honesty. At first, she told herself this was love, that sacrifice was normal, that marriage meant compromise. But compromise slowly turned into disappearance. Friends stopped calling because she was always busy. Her world became smaller, centered around his needs, his moods, his successes. When he succeeded, people praised him. When he struggled, she carried the weight silently. No one applauded her for the nights she stayed awake worrying. No one noticed the ambition she buried. No one asked what she had lost along the way. She became the background of his life, essential but unseen. And the most painful part wasn't that he took everything she gave. It was that he stopped noticing the cost. By the time she realized how much she had given up, she no longer recognized the woman she used to be. And yet she stayed, because walking away felt harder than losing herself. Have you ever felt like your world just shattered into a million pieces? I remember the exact moment it happened to me. The door clicked shut, and just like that, a 7-year chapter of my life was over. He was gone. The silence in our apartment was deafening, echoing the emptiness that had suddenly carved a home inside my chest. For weeks, I was a ghost in my own life. I'd wake up, go to work, come home, and just stare at the wall, replaying every moment, every word, trying to pinpoint where it all went wrong. The future we had painted together, so vibrant and full of promise, had faded to a dull, lonely gray. I felt lost, invisible, and completely defined by the person who was no longer there. One rainy Tuesday, staring at my reflection, I barely recognized the tired, sad eyes looking back. That was my rock bottom, and in that moment, a tiny spark flickered. It was a question. Who was I really without him? I'd spent so long being part of a we that the me had gotten lost along the way. So I made a small, scary promise to myself. I was going to find her again. It started with little things. I signed up for a pottery class, something he always thought was messy and pointless. My first pot was lopsided and weird, but my hands were covered in clay, and for the first time in months, I laughed. A real belly-deep laugh. That small act of defiance opened the floodgates. I dusted off my old hiking boots and started exploring trails on my own. Standing on top of a mountain, breathless and sweaty, with the whole world spread out below me, I felt a sense of power I hadn't realized I was missing. I wasn't just his girlfriend who tagged along. I was a hiker, a conqueror of hills, started a book club, reconnecting with old friends and making new ones. We'd talk about characters and plots, but really we were talking about our own lives, our dreams, our fears. I found a community of strong, incredible women who saw me for me, not as one half of a broken pair. I traveled, not to escape, but to explore. I went to a small coastal town I'd always dreamed of visiting. I ate seafood by myself at a table for one, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. And you know what? It wasn't lonely. It was peaceful. It was liberating. I was learning to enjoy my own company, to be my own best friend. The person who used to need constant validation was slowly being replaced by a woman who was finding her validation from within. I started journaling, not to vent about the past, but to plan for the future, my future. I wrote down goals, dreams, and all the things I wanted to become. The journey wasn't a straight line. There were days when the sadness would creep back in, a familiar ache for what was lost. But the difference was, now I knew how to handle it. I'd go for a run, call a friend, or throw myself into a new project. I learned that healing isn't about forgetting. It's about growing around the wound. The scar becomes a part of your story, a testament to your strength. The person who left me gave me an unintentional gift, the chance to rebuild my life. It's not from the ashes, but from a brand new foundation that was entirely my own. Today, when I look in the mirror, I see a woman I'm proud of. She's resilient, she's adventurous, and she's unapologetically herself. The apartment that once felt so empty is now filled with my laughter, my music, my lopsided pottery, and the vibrant energy of a life being lived to the fullest. My story isn't about a breakup, it's about a breakthrough. It's about the beautiful, messy, and incredible journey of falling in love with yourself. If you're standing in the rubble of a life you thought you knew, please know this. You are the architect of your own happiness. You have the power to rebuild something even more beautiful. Start with one small brick. You've got this. If you're going through a tough time, please remember that support is available. You can reach out to mental health professionals or crisis hotlines. You're not alone. Thanks for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe and join our community. See you next time.